Hi, I'm Steve Lindsay, commander of STS-133. You're watching NASA TV.
We've waited long for this day to come, for all the midnight lights burnt into the morning sun. I can't wait to see your sweet mysteries, the moon, the stars, the sun, the universe, the galaxies. Fly home on your silver wings with your new song for the world to sing. Light this candle, make it right. Yes, you can change the world. True love discovers and she stands and she won't back down. Oh, yes, you can change the world. There is no other one. Believe and you will find blue sky. Gonna chase the dream, gonna set it free, gonna make it real, gonna make it shine, gonna keep it grooving on. One small stepping stone, baby, we're not alone. Gonna take you farther, higher, faster than you're out of sight. You've got my flame in your fire, baby. You've got my twinkle in your eye. Reaching for the distant light. Yes, you can change the world. True love discovers and she stands and she won't back down. Oh, yes, you can change the world. There is no other one. Believe and you will find blue sky. Don't you change too late. Yeah, yeah, or fade away. My stars won't wait. Yes, you can change the world. True love discovers and she stands and she won't back down. Oh, yes, you can change the world. There is no other one. Believe and you will find blue sky.
Good morning, Discovery. And your wake-up music this morning was brought to you live by Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Well, good morning, and thanks to them, and they were the #1 vote getter in the Shuttle Program Song Contest, so congratulations to them, and thanks for that special recording. It's good to be up here, looking forward to the day.
Greetings, this is Todd from Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Well, good morning, Todd, and thanks very much for that. That was great. Did you just do that live?
I did just do that live, and I believe it's a first in history.
That was terrific. We really appreciate it, and congratulations on winning the contest.
Well, on behalf of Big Head Todd and the Monsters and songwriters and artists everywhere, we just want to thank you so much for your courage and your bravery and your effort in just giving all of us a better shot at knowing more. And it's very inspirational to the arts as well. And I just want you to be home as safely and as soon as you can.
Well, thank you very much, and we all wish you could see what we can see when we look out at the Earth, and hopefully everybody will be able to do that one of these days. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Well, we'll work on that together. Thank you so much.
You bet.
That was Todd Park Moore of Big Head Todd and the Monsters talking with the crew of the STS-133 mission on board Discovery.
This is Mission Control Houston. Now that the crew has wrapped up the flight control surfaces checkout, they're in the middle of the reaction control system jet checkout. It's called the hot fire test. They will pulse each of the jets twice. While they're doing that, the propulsions officer here inside Mission Control will follow along, make sure that there are no errors and all the jets are ready to support tomorrow's landing. As the crew works through this, everything checking out A-OK so far.
Commander Lindsay, I just heard the call from MMT that you're clear for re-entry. How sad does it make you that you can't keep flying up there?
You know, I think it makes all of us sad. We've had a fantastic mission. We've accomplished all of our mission objectives, plus a whole bunch we never thought we would get. Been extended a couple of days and would love to be extended longer, but unfortunately we're running out of supplies up here and it's time to come home. But we're all sad that this is our last day in orbit, and we're sad that this is the last day potentially for Discovery, unless we weather wave off or something like that.
For Commander Lindsay and a couple of other crew members, tell us something about Discovery that we don't know. What are the quirks of this particular ship? Where does it make noises in the middle of the night? Did you find anything tucked in the compartments you didn't expect?
Well, the one thing I will tell you about Discovery is Discovery's been flying since 1984. This is her 39th mission into space, and we've been flying up here for 12, 13 days now, and there is not a single thing wrong with her. Every single system and every piece of every system is working just like it was brand new, and that's probably something people would be surprised to hear about a vehicle that's, I guess, over 25 years old.
You know, sometimes people who do renovation in
well, and I think
He's waiting for it.
Sorry about that. I think I'll continue along Steve's line there, and that in addition to the systems operating beautifully, you look around, whether you're on the flight deck or the mid deck or even out into the payload bay and on the outside of the vehicle, and it really does look brand new. You get that sense that, you know, that maybe we're the first ones to travel on her, and we've tried to treat her well, and she certainly has done that for us.
And I think I was reading your mind there. I was thinking about people who renovate and restore old vehicles and keep them in really pristine condition. Well, that's Discovery, but she doesn't just look good. In order to fly into space and do the mission that Discovery does, she has to be really pristine and really perform well. And everything I've seen on this, my first shuttle flight, is that Discovery is just really at the top of her game and performing like a champ.
And what's it going to say on the plaque at Smithsonian about Discovery's accomplishments and history, in your view?
I don't know what the plaque is going to say, but hopefully it will talk about Discovery's legacy as a great ship of exploration, as a great spacecraft, as a class of spacecraft with capabilities of lifting people and loads and returning them from space, unmatched by anything else that we've ever seen. A versatility that's unmatched of anything else we've ever seen in space, and probably unmatched for a long time to come. So hopefully it will say something about that, but more importantly, hopefully it will talk about not the crews, not us, but talk about the entire space shuttle team that spans across the country for these past 30 years that have allowed this to happen. You see us in space, we're visible, but it takes a team of thousands and thousands and thousands of people to keep this vehicle running, to allow it to execute the complex missions that we do with it. And so hopefully the legacy will be more about the people than anything else.
Last thoughts when you bring it in tomorrow. What are you going to be thinking?
I think as a crew, what we'll be thinking as we're coming in is we'll be pretty focused on doing that and doing it right. And so we're going to concentrate on our jobs, just like we should. Make sure we don't miss any steps. Make sure we do everything exactly right, and bring it in as safely and successfully as possible. After we land, that'll be the time which we'll reflect. And I suspect, sitting on the runway, I'll be sitting in my seat when we do the last switch throw, and it's time for me to get out. And I don't think I'm going to want to leave my seat.
Well put. Safe return, folks. ABC done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Discovery, good morning. This is CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center. How do you hear me?
Discovery has you loud and clear. How us?
Sound great, and good morning. This is Peter King along with Bill Harwood, and we've got a whole slew of questions for you, so we'll get right to it. Commander Lindsay, you've probably said, and we've probably reported everything that can possibly be said about this being the last flight for Discovery. For somebody who flies these things for a living, how hard is it to retire a spacecraft that seemingly has a lot of life left in her? Your emotions right now.
I guess it's very it's going to be sad when it's over, when we land tomorrow or the next day. I guess the hardest part of this for me is giving up the capability, because if you really look at what this spacecraft does, it can do everything except leave low Earth orbit. It's a science laboratory. We can dock with space stations. We helped build we did build the U.S. segment of the U.S. OS section of the International Space Station with these vehicles, hauled cargo and people up and down with up mass and down mass that's unmatched anywhere. We deployed the Hubble Space Telescope with this vehicle. It starts out its life as a rocket, becomes an orbiting laboratory or a docking vehicle, maneuverable spacecraft on orbit, and lands like an airplane. And that capability is unmatched anywhere, and probably will be unmatched for many years to come. And so giving up all of that capability and the amazing versatility of this spacecraft is what's most difficult for me, and probably for everybody that's working on the program.
And along those lines, for Nicole Stott, with so much uncertainty right now in the future of U.S. human spaceflight, what are your concerns, and what are the things that most excite you about what's ahead?
Well, I think from the concern standpoint right now is just, I think we're still in this phase of really defining what the next steps are going to be. And, I look forward to seeing what that is. I hold real hope that we'll be challenging ourselves. We'll be doing, big things and going out of low Earth orbit. I would love to see us go back to the moon. I don't know if that's in the plans or not. But, I hope that what will be happening is a challenge, and will be taking us places, as much as what vehicles like Discovery and the Space Shuttle have done for us, and that we'll be, learning all kinds of new things. And I think that's what makes it exciting as well, is that, there's plenty of opportunities out there, and we're a great country that has done really amazing things with our space program, and I really just hope that will continue.
guys. It's Bill Harwood. Let me ask a couple if I can, and I'm going to keep with the Discovery theme, obviously. I think a lot of people, your mission is the first really concrete sign that the beginning of the end is finally here for this program. And for Mike Barrett, what do you say to the workforce and really to all Americans on the eve of this final landing for Discovery and, of course, the 2 flights coming up?
Well, hey, Bill, it's a great question. I think about this space shuttle fleet like the Clipper ships that were strong and fast and powerful. They did their jobs, but they were also graceful and beautiful, and they conjured up imagination of foreign travel, exotic places, of exploration. And Discovery is just an elite member of this elite fleet. And when the Clippers faded, it was because there was an alternative. There was another ship that was coming in, steam power that was stronger, faster, perhaps, not quite as beautiful. We don't have that yet. We have the legacy of the Clippers in our shuttle fleet, and it's a legacy that everybody who's ever touched these vehicles should be extremely proud of. I think the only problem area there is that we don't have that follow-on. We're not replacing the shuttle with something, and I think that's what makes it a little bit sad for us. But make no mistake, when we bring Discovery home, it's a time to celebrate. I mean, the legacy that this spaceship has made for herself is just nothing more than cause for celebration. She's returned so much science, so much experience, and the experience that we crew members have had has just been marvelous, and is, again, just something that our country should be very, very proud of.
Peter King again, and this question is for Eric Bowe. You've got kids, and down the line, maybe some grandchildren on the way, who will only know about the space shuttle from history books and from video and things on the internet. Maybe you'll take them to see Discovery at the Smithsonian or wherever it winds up. What will you tell them about what it was like to fly the space shuttle?
Well, I'll tell them that Discovery and the space shuttle fleet is a dream machine. It's just amazing what this vehicle can do. It can launch like a rocket, go into orbit, change it into a spacecraft, and then land as a hypersonic airplane on entry. And what's amazing is just how well she sails. And it's an honor and privilege for all of us to get the chance on our final voyage.
This is Marcia Dunn speaking to you from Kennedy Space Center, where the skies are clear today. For Commander Lindsay, wow, a tribute from William Shatner and live wake-up music today. The whole country seems to be watching Discovery's last flight. I'm wondering, can you sense all the attention that's going on down here, and what's the mood up there for you like? And is it all sadness, or please elaborate?
Well, as far as the attention Discovery is getting on the ground, honestly, I have no idea about that. We get a little bit of news up here. I haven't had time to read it for several days, so we've been focusing on doing our job. So as far as what's going on in terms of attention, I have no idea. What we're feeling is we're obviously in our last day of orbit, and we're getting taking every chance we can to look out the windows. So we're kind of sad that this is the last day. We wish we could have a few more days, but it's time for us to come home. But we're mostly enjoying this last day, getting ready for entry, looking out the windows, and just thinking about the great experience we have and the success of our mission. And we're getting ready now to focus on this final task we have tomorrow, which is to do the deorbit prep safely, enter safely, and then land. And I think once we land, then we'll all have time to really reflect on what we did, and that we got to fly this final flight of Discovery, which is truly an honor for all of us.
We've been talking about Discovery retiring, and the fact that there really isn't a replacement for the space shuttle. And I kind of look at it that just as nowadays we look back at the shipwrights of the 18th and 19th century, and we look at the ships they built, and we still ask questions as to how they did it and how those ships managed to stay at sea for so long and be successful. And I think when they do get around to building another vehicle that is as capable as the space shuttle, they're going to look back and ask a lot of questions. How in the world did the engineers and technicians and the maintenance people manage to make these vehicles so incredible that they're still flying after 39 missions and 25 years? It's pretty amazing. And I think that's really going to be the long-term legacy of this vehicle.
Thank thank you. Along those lines, for anyone on board, do you expect the shuttle program one day to be revered as much as the Apollo Moon program is today?
I guess it's my turn to wax poetic. Yes, I believe indeed. When I talk to the Apollo astronauts, the Mercury and Gemini astronauts, they talk to us with amazement. They look at the complexity of the missions we do now in space, and they can't believe that they said they never did anything nearly as difficult or complex as what we were doing with the shuttle. And like Steve said, we won't do anything nearly as complex with another vehicle for a very long time. Even if we started today to try and build a replacement shuttle, it might take 15 to 20 years to get there. There's just been nothing more capable out there to do it. So I think that 5 or 10 years from now, they're going to look back and go, how did we ever build a vehicle that could do all these things? This was a pretty bold and audacious thing to put together back in the 1970s. And I just don't know that we have that audacity now to build something nearly as ambitious as the shuttle is.
Al, if you could keep the mic for a moment, what do you expect it will be like for you to be part of Discovery's historic return to Earth tomorrow and to be walking away from the ship one last time?
To be honest, like our commander said, I've been more focused on just getting through the mission here and making sure that we have a safe and effective return from orbit back to Earth to cap off a successful mission. I'll probably give more thought once we're done, when we'll stop on the runway, about the legacy of Discovery and the legacy of this particular mission. But I just don't have a whole lot of deep thoughts about it right now.
Dr. Barrett, you were so eloquent a few days ago describing all the historic voyages of the ships named Discovery. Put that in perspective for me again, if you will. How will Space Shuttle Discovery stack up against all the other discoveries from ages past, do you think?
Well, that's a great question. There have been ships named Discovery for over 4 centuries, and they've been captained by great people like Henry Hudson and John Clerk, who was on Captain Cook's second voyage. Robert Falcon Scott had a Discovery going to the Antarctic. And I think everybody knows that our shuttle fleet was named after great ships of exploration. We wanted to carry on that heritage, the legacy of that name, and I think this Discovery has done that with flying colors. And she retires with all of the honors and dignity due any of those ships that made great discoveries. So I think we salute Discovery in that way, with all the accolades that she deserves. But it also lays out a challenge. What will be the next ship named Discovery? The next ship to bear this name hopefully will go further than this one and make every bit as much of a contribution to history and to Discovery as this ship.
Thank you. For anyone on board, Discovery is promised to the Smithsonian Institution, but the decision on where the other shuttles go will be coming up next month. Do any of you wish you were doing the picking, and do you have any recommendations to give in that regard?
Hi, I'm Steve Lindsay, commander of Space Shuttle Discovery on Discovery's final voyage into space, her 39th trip into space. We've prepared a more formal tribute to Discovery that we will put together later. But for now, on this final day on orbit, I'd just like to get each crew member to say a few words and their thoughts of Discovery. For me, Discovery is a very personal thing, because I've actually flown Discovery 3 times now. My first flight I flew in 1999 on STS-95 when we brought Senator John Glenn back into space. I flew her again as one of the return-to-flight test missions, STS-121 in 2006, and then finally STS-133, her final flight. So Discovery is a very special vehicle to me. Discovery has contributed greatly to the Space Shuttle program. She's flown a good portion of the major, most significant flights in the Space Shuttle program. She deployed the Hubble Space Telescope, 13 trips to the space station, contributing the assembly of the space station in a very big way. She's been to the Mir space station. She's done science missions. She's done all of the return to flight test missions, both after Challenger and after Columbia, bringing us back into space after those tragedies. On this final day on orbit, when I think about Discovery, I think about all that. I think about all the people that went before us on this vehicle, but mostly what I think about are the thousands and thousands of people across the Space Shuttle program these past 30 years who designed this vehicle, built this vehicle, have taken care of this vehicle, and operating this vehicle, not just from the cockpit, but also those who operated this vehicle from the ground. And that is her greatest legacy to me. You have the lights on.
I remember marveling at the Space Shuttle at the New Air and Space Museum when I was a teenager. And now as we fly Discovery's final voyage, I still marvel at her today. I would also I would call the Space Shuttle Discovery a dream machine, and it's the people that make the ship, the people that are involved in all our training, and it's a testament to the people that maintain her, train her, that the first flight is as clean as it is on the final flight.
We're backed up and lost.
In 1948, in Europe, after the ravages of World War II, a bunch of wild-eyed scientists got together and mapped out a vision for the future. Among them was Werner von Braun. He saw a vision where we'd have of mankind pushing out into the solar system on a pyramid of space stations being serviced by a fleet of shuttles that went to and from the Earth. Here we are at the turn of the century, the 21st century, with a fleet of shuttles that does just that, and a space station that could potentially be a platform for leaping off into the solar system. Discovery is one of those workhorse vessels that got us off on that vision and has us going, will take us into the future, and hopefully will be a model for how we do this later on in the 21st century.
And as a ship of Discovery, Discovery has been truly amazing. And I was thinking earlier, when we look back, even now at the shipwrights of the 19th and 18th century, and we marvel at the work they did. In the future, when we go back and we build another vehicle that's as capable as a space shuttle, we're going to look back at Discovery and the engineers, the designers, the people who maintain her, and we'll have to ask them how in the world they did that, because it's truly amazing. And this vehicle, even though it's only spent a total of 365 days or so on orbit, which is less than those earlier ships were spent on a single mission, its accomplishments are truly amazing, as the commander noted earlier. And so thinking about it and looking back, I'm just proud to be a part of this team and a part of this crew on our final flight.
Well, I know a lot of sailors out there are familiar with the term sea kindly. You use those words of a vessel that just is strong and powerful, yet easy to handle, and works very well at sea. And I think Discovery is that way. She's space kindly, if you will. She points where you steer her, she hauls what you put in her hold, and she just performs magnificently. It's an incredibly powerful machine. It leaps off the planet. We were firing the thrusters a little bit earlier, and it's just amazing how this ship can maneuver. And I think that one of the greatest legacies is going to be the space station that we just left. When you look at the space station, you think, my gosh, that is so big. How on earth did we get 1 million pounds to orbit? Well, this space shuttle helped to get a lot of that mass up there. I think the legacy that she leaves behind is quite incredible. And all that makes her strong and powerful and gives her that sea-kindly nature is all the hands that have taken care of her, that fiercely defend her and service her when she gets back to home port. And even though it's the last time, we really do look forward to bringing her back to her home port and back into those caring hands.
I think I'll be continuing on a common theme here, but there's a few words that come to mind for me when I think about my own experience with Discovery and the Space Shuttle program, as well as just, how we think about the program itself. And that's a blessing and the words thank you. And for me, out of college, I was very, very fortunate to be hired on by NASA at the Kennedy Space Center. And this is over 20 years ago, and have the opportunity to work up close and personal with these just incredible, indescribably beautiful vehicles. And I have a vivid recollection of coming to work at KSC one of the first days, and I was very fortunate to be working in the orbiter processing facility, which is the big hangar where we take care of the orbiter part of the space shuttle. And having somebody walk me into the facility, out into the middle of the floor, and asking me if I knew where the space shuttle was, and I looked around and couldn't see anything. The gear wasn't deployed, and I remember looking up and seeing this just wall of black tiles, and from that very second being just so overwhelmed and impressed by the orbiter. And I'd like to just say thank you to all the people who have taken such great care of her, of Discovery and the other space shuttles, and making it a safe place for us to live and work up here. And there's tears coming, so I will. I'll stop very soon. But I'm looking forward, like Mike said, to bringing her home to the people who care for her most, and to the time when we're on that runway and we can look back and still see her standing on her own gear with her own proud wings holding her up before she goes back to that hangar for the last time. And thank you.